Before we begin, feel free to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps bring more soothing stories your way. Let me know where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. The afternoon was crisp and lively at the entrance of the Silicon Valley Tech Convention, a world-renowned event that showcased the latest innovations in technology. The venue buzzed with energy as professionals, enthusiasts, and curious onlookers lined up to gain entry. Among them stood Martha, a petite, elderly woman with a delicate frame, her silver hair neatly tied back and her eyes reflecting both excitement and apprehension. She held tightly to her worn purse and a crinkled envelope that contained her invitation. Martha had never been to an event like this before. Her grandson, an aspiring inventor, had always dreamed of attending this convention. He had secured a VIP invitation months ago, hoping to bring her along as his guest. But life had other plans, and he tragically passed away in a car accident just weeks before the event. Determined to honor his memory and feel connected to him one last time, Martha resolved to attend the convention in his place, even though she felt out of her depth among the tech-savvy crowd. As she approached the security checkpoint, her heart beat faster. The guards at the entrance were tall and imposing, their expressions stern as they scanned badges and waved people through. Martha took a deep breath and stepped forward, clutching her invitation with trembling hands. "Excuse me," she said softly, her voice barely audible over the hum of the crowd. "I have an invitation for the convention." One of the guards, a burly man with a name tag that read Jack, glanced down at her with a raised eyebrow. His gaze flicked to the wrinkled invitation in her hand. "You're here for this?" he asked, his tone dripping with disbelief. "Yes," Martha replied, her voice quivering. "It's a special pass. My grandson—" Jack interrupted her with a chuckle, shaking his head. "Lady, this isn't a knitting club. This is a high-profile tech event. Are you sure you're not lost?" A ripple of laughter spread through the nearby crowd, and Martha's cheeks flushed. "I assure you this is a valid invitation," she said, her grip on the envelope tightening. Jack snatched the paper from her hand and examined it briefly, barely glancing at the details. With a dismissive grunt, he thrust it back at her. "This looks fake," he declared. "We can't just let anyone in. Now step aside. You're holding up the line." "But I said step aside," Jack repeated, his voice louder now. His tone left no room for argument. Another guard snickered, and the people in line began to murmur. Some looked at Martha with pity, others seemed annoyed at the delay. Martha felt a lump form in her throat as her eyes darted around, searching for someone who might intervene. But no one did. Her hands trembled as she folded the invitation and tucked it back into her purse. Her grandson's name was printed on that paper, a reminder of his hopes and dreams. But now it felt like a cruel mockery of her efforts to keep his memory alive. She turned away slowly, her shoulders hunched in defeat. The warmth of her grandson's smile seemed a distant memory, replaced by the cold sting of humiliation. As she shuffled to a nearby bench to collect herself, the crowd buzzed on, oblivious to the pain they had just witnessed. Little did Martha know, her quiet act of perseverance and the injustice she had faced was about to capture the attention of someone who could change everything. As Martha shuffled away from the entrance, her frail figure lost in the bustling crowd, whispers began to ripple through the spectators. The scene had not gone unnoticed. While some people turned a blind eye, others exchanged disapproving glances, their conversations tinged with unease. "Did you see how they treated her?" a young woman named Clara murmured to her friend, gripping her phone tightly. She had been waiting in line when the incident unfolded, and the sight of the elderly woman being dismissed so callously left a sour taste in her mouth. "Yeah, that was rough," her friend replied, adjusting his backpack. "But what can you do? Security's always like that at these big events. They don't care about people, just their protocols." Clara frowned, her sense of indignation growing. Protocols shouldn't excuse treating someone like that. She had an invitation. She wasn't just trying to sneak in. Unable to let the moment pass unnoticed, Clara pulled up her phone and quickly opened the camera app. She had recorded the interaction, feeling an instinctive need to document the injustice. The video captured everything: the guard's dismissive tone, the woman's trembling voice, and the quiet humiliation that played out in front of the crowd. Watching it again only fueled Clara's anger. "This isn't right," she said, her voice shaking slightly. "People need to see this." With a few quick taps, she uploaded the video to her social media account, adding a caption that read, "Disgraceful behavior at Silicon Valley TechCon. Elderly woman humiliated by security for trying to attend with a legitimate invitation." She hesitated for a moment before hitting post, unsure if it would make any difference. But as soon as the video went live, the notifications began pouring in. Meanwhile, a few other onlookers exchanged hushed comments. "I feel bad for her," a man in a tailored suit remarked to his colleague. "She clearly wasn't causing any trouble. They could have at least checked the invitation properly." "Yeah, but this is Silicon Valley," his colleague replied with a shrug. "It's all about image. She didn't fit their idea of who belongs here, so they tossed her out." Back on the bench, Martha sat quietly, trying to compose herself. She held her purse close to her chest, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. She felt small, out of place, and utterly defeated. The invitation that had once seemed like a lifeline to her grandson's dream now felt like a cruel joke. Around her, the chatter of the crowd continued, but she tuned it out. She didn't notice the young woman glancing at her from across the walkway, nor did she hear the buzz of smartphones as Clara's video began to spread. By the time Clara refreshed her feed, the video had already been retweeted dozens of times. Comments began pouring in, expressing outrage, sympathy, and disbelief. Among the growing flurry of responses, one caught Clara's attention: a simple retweet from Elon Musk himself, paired with the words, "This is unacceptable. Someone find this woman." Clara's heart skipped a beat. She stared at the screen, then at the elderly woman still sitting on the bench, oblivious to the storm of attention brewing around her. A shiver of excitement and hope ran through Clara as she realized that perhaps, just perhaps, justice was on its way. Elon Musk sat in the back seat of his sleek, custom-designed Tesla, scrolling through his phone as his driver navigated the busy streets toward the Silicon Valley Tech Convention. It was supposed to be another routine appearance, a keynote speech highlighting advancements in sustainable technology and space exploration. But as Elon scrolled through his social media feed, something unusual caught his eye. A video was trending, posted just moments earlier. The caption read, "Disgraceful behavior at Silicon Valley TechCon. Elderly woman humiliated by security for trying to attend with a legitimate invitation." Intrigued, Elon tapped on the video, and his usually calm demeanor darkened as he watched the scene unfold. The sight of the frail woman being dismissed, mocked, and humiliated stirred something in him. He watched as she clutched her invitation, her voice trembling with dignity as she tried to explain herself, only to be shoved aside. Elon replayed the video, his jaw tightening. "This is wrong," he murmured. He could feel the weight of the injustice, not just as a tech leader, but as a human being. The vision of the woman reminded him of his mother, her strength, her perseverance, and he couldn't stand the idea of someone like that being treated so poorly. Without a moment's hesitation, he turned to his assistant, who was seated beside him, reviewing notes for the keynote. "Cancel my prep," Elon said, his voice calm but firm. The assistant looked up, startled. "Sir, is something wrong?" Elon held up his phone, showing the video. I need to find her. Make some calls. Get in touch with the event organizers. Find out who this woman is and where she is now." The assistant hesitated for a split second before nodding. "Right away." Elon leaned back in his seat, his mind racing. The convention wasn't just about showcasing technology, it was about creating a better future. How could he stand on stage and talk about progress and innovation while such blatant disrespect was allowed to happen at the very entrance of the event? As the assistant worked quickly to gather information, Elon pulled up Twitter and retweeted the video, adding his own comment. "This is unacceptable. Someone find this woman." The response was immediate. Elon's followers, millions strong, flooded the tweet with likes, retweets, and comments, demanding accountability and offering support for the elderly woman. His simple yet powerful statement set off a chain reaction, turning the video from a viral moment into a global conversation. Moments later, Elon's assistant received a call. Sir, we've located her. She's sitting on a bench outside the venue, not far from the main entrance. Elon didn't wait for further details. Take us there, he instructed his driver. The sleek Tesla shifted gears and glided smoothly into the convention center's parking lot. Word of Elon's involvement had already begun to spread among the attendees, and a growing crowd watched with curiosity as the car pulled up near the entrance. When the doors opened and Elon stepped out, his presence was magnetic. Conversations hushed, and all eyes turned toward him. Elon's focus, however, was singular. He scanned the area, spotting the elderly woman sitting quietly on the bench, her head bowed. Without hesitation, he walked toward her, his steps purposeful but measured. The crowd began to gather, their phones held high, eager to capture the unexpected scene unfolding before them. The tech mogul who had sent rockets to Mars and revolutionized electric vehicles was about to tackle a much more personal mission, restoring the dignity of a woman who had been unjustly humiliated. Elon approached the bench where Martha sat, her figure small and hunched, as though the weight of the day had become too much to bear. The murmurs of the crowd grew louder, people craning their necks to see what was happening. Phones were raised to capture the moment as the tech icon walked with purpose toward the elderly woman. Martha didn't notice him at first. She was lost in her thoughts, her fingers nervously twisting the strap of her purse. The faint sound of approaching footsteps caused her to glance up, and her tired eyes widened in surprise as she recognized the familiar face of Elon Musk. "Ms. Martha?" Elon asked gently, crouching slightly to meet her gaze. "I'm Elon Musk. May I sit with you for a moment?" Martha blinked, unsure if this was real. Oh my," she stammered, flustered. "Mr. Musk, I didn't expect to meet someone like you. What brings you here?" Elon offered her a reassuring smile. "I saw what happened at the entrance, and I'm here to make it right. You're not just someone, you're an honored guest. I apologize on behalf of the event for how you were treated." Martha's lips quivered, her voice barely a whisper. "I only wanted to come because of my grandson. He was so excited about this event. He's not here anymore, but I thought coming would make me feel closer to him." Elon listened intently, his expression softening. "He must have been an extraordinary person to inspire you to be here today, and I promise we'll honor his memory the way he would have wanted." Standing upright, Elon turned his attention to the crowd, where Jack and the other security guards had been watching nervously. Elon's commanding presence cut through the murmurs as he gestured for them to step forward. "Are these the men who treated you poorly?" Elon asked Martha, his voice calm but firm. Martha hesitated, not wanting to cause trouble, but she nodded slowly. Elon faced the security team, his sharp gaze locking onto Jack. "I'm giving you an opportunity to make this right," he said, his voice carrying the weight of authority. "This woman is not only a guest, but someone who represents everything this event stands for: courage, innovation, and humanity. And you humiliated her." Jack's face turned pale as the weight of the situation hit him. The crowd watched in silence, tension thick in the air. I'm sorry," Jack stammered, stepping forward. He avoided Martha's eyes as he spoke. "Ma'am, I was wrong. I didn't take the time to listen or check your invitation properly. I'm truly sorry for the way I treated you." Martha looked up at him, her expression a mix of relief and weariness. "I accept your apology," she said softly, though her voice carried a quiet strength. "But I hope you'll treat others with more kindness in the future." Elon nodded approvingly. "Let's ensure this never happens again." Turning back to Martha, Elon extended his hand. "Ms. Martha, would you allow me the honor of escorting you into the event? You deserve the VIP experience your grandson wanted for you." Martha hesitated for a moment before taking his hand, her small fingers trembling slightly. The crowd erupted into applause, cheers of admiration and support echoing through the air. Elon walked with Martha to the entrance, where the staff now stood ready to welcome her with the respect and dignity she deserved. Jack and the other guards stood silently, their heads bowed as the pair passed by. Elon paused briefly and addressed the event organizers. "From now on, let's remember that every person who walks through these doors is valuable. Our technology means nothing if we forget our humanity." As Martha stepped through the doors with Elon by her side, the crowd's applause followed her, signaling not just a victory for her, but a lesson for everyone who had witnessed the day's events. Inside the convention, the world was a dazzling spectacle of innovation. Gleaming booths, futuristic devices, and a sea of attendees buzzing with excitement. Martha's awe was evident as her eyes darted around, taking in the grandeur. She clutched her purse tightly, feeling overwhelmed yet grateful for the chance to be there. Elon walked beside her, his pace steady and deliberate. People whispered as they passed, their gazes flickering between him and the elderly woman he escorted. Some recognized Martha from the viral video, while others simply admired the unusual but heartwarming sight of a tech titan giving his undivided attention to someone so unassuming. As they reached the VIP lounge, Elon guided Martha to a comfortable seat. A staff member hurried over, offering her a warm cup of tea and a soft blanket. Martha hesitated, then accepted with a grateful smile. "This is all so much," she said softly, looking at Elon. "I never imagined I'd actually be here, let alone with someone like you." Elon pulled up a chair beside her. "You belong here, Martha. Your grandson would be proud to see you experiencing this." He paused, then added, "Tell me about him. What was he working on? I'd like to know." Martha's face lit up, her earlier discomfort melting away as she began to speak. "Oh, Jimmy was a dreamer," she said, her voice growing steadier. "Ever since he was a boy, he loved to tinker with things. He'd take apart our old radio just to see how it worked, and then he'd put it back together, better than before." She chuckled softly at the memory. "He was working on a project before he passed," she continued, her smile fading slightly, "a device to help people with mobility issues. He said it would use sensors and AI to assist them in real time. He even got an invitation to showcase his concept here." Her eyes misted as she pulled a small, worn notebook from her purse. This was his. It has all his sketches and notes. Elon leaned forward, intrigued. "May I see it?" Martha hesitated, then handed him the notebook with care. Elon flipped through the pages, his expression growing more serious with each diagram and annotation. The work was rough, but brimming with potential, ideas ahead of their time, penned with passion and ingenuity. "This is incredible," Elon said, looking up at Martha. "Your grandson had a brilliant mind. His ideas deserve to be shared with the world." Martha's lips quivered, her voice barely audible. "Do you really think so? He always worried that he wasn't good enough, that his ideas wouldn't matter." So Elon closed the notebook and placed it gently in her hands. "He was wrong about that. His ideas do matter, and I want to help bring them to life." Martha stared at him, stunned. You would do that? Why?" Elon smiled. "Because the best innovations often come from people like Jimmy, those who see the world not for what it is, but for what it could be, and because it's the right thing to do." Tears filled Martha's eyes, but they were tears of gratitude and hope. For the first time in a long while, she felt as though her grandson's dream hadn't died with him. It was alive, waiting to be nurtured and shared. Elon stood and addressed a member of his team who had been hovering nearby. "Get a team together. I want a full evaluation of this notebook and its potential applications. Let's make this happen." The staff member nodded, already making notes. Elon turned back to Martha, his expression warm. "You've given me a great gift today, Martha. Your grandson's vision will inspire others, and I'll make sure it gets the recognition it deserves." Martha reached out and clasped his hand. "Thank you, Mr. Musk. You've done more than I could have ever imagined." "It's the least I can do," Elon replied. "And please, call me Elon." Martha chuckled, her spirits lifted. For the first time that day, she felt not like an outsider, but like someone who truly belonged. As she sipped her tea and watched the event unfold, she couldn't help but think that Jimmy was smiling down on her, proud of what his dream had inspired. As the afternoon unfolded, word of Elon Musk's actions spread throughout the convention like wildfire. Attendees buzzed with excitement, and social media platforms lit up with updates, pictures, and videos of Martha's unexpected journey. The once overlooked elderly woman had become the unlikely star of Silicon Valley TechCon, and her story touched everyone who heard it. Elon arranged for Martha to be escorted to the main exhibition hall, where some of the most innovative projects were being showcased. The event organizers, eager to make amends, ensured that Martha received the royal treatment. Booth operators greeted her warmly, offering demonstrations and samples of their products. Martha, who had come feeling small and insignificant, now moved through the crowd with confidence, her curiosity and wonder shining brighter with each passing moment. Elon stayed by her side, pointing out projects he thought Jimmy would have loved. "This one's about AI-driven prosthetics," he explained at one booth. "It's similar to what your grandson was working on. I think he would have found this fascinating." Martha nodded, her mind spinning as she tried to absorb everything. "It's incredible," she said. "Jimmy used to talk about things like this all the time. He'd say, 'Grandma, one day the world will be a better place for people who need help.'" "He wasn't wrong," Elon replied. "And with people like him, that better world is closer than we think." At one point, Elon led Martha to a small stage in the exhibition hall where he had arranged an impromptu announcement. A microphone was set up, and a small crowd had already gathered, curious to see what Elon Musk had to say. Martha stood beside him, her heart pounding. She wasn't used to so much attention, but Elon's presence reassured her. Stepping up to the microphone, Elon began to speak. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today. I want to take a moment to highlight something important. Not just the technology on display, but the people behind it. This event is about innovation, but innovation is meaningless without humanity." He gestured to Martha. "Today, I had the privilege of meeting Martha, who is here to honor her late grandson, Jimmy. Jimmy was an innovator, a dreamer, and a problem solver. Though he's no longer with us, his ideas live on. I've had the chance to look at his work, and I can tell you, it's extraordinary." The crowd erupted into applause, but Elon wasn't done. "In honor of Jimmy, and as a reminder that innovation belongs to everyone, I'm committing resources from my foundation to further develop his project. With the right team and support, I believe we can bring his vision to life and make a real difference." Martha gasped softly, her hand flying to her chest as tears welled in her eyes. The crowd's applause grew louder, their admiration for Elon's gesture and Martha's resilience filling the hall. As the applause subsided, Elon looked at Martha with a kind smile. "Martha, your grandson's dream will inspire more people than you know, and it's an honor to help make that happen." Martha stepped forward, her voice trembling with emotion. "Thank you," she said softly into the microphone. "Thank you to everyone here and to Mr. Musk for seeing the value in my Jimmy. He always believed in a better future, and now I believe in it too." The crowd rose to their feet, their applause echoing through the hall. For the first time that day, Martha stood tall, her grief tempered by the overwhelming support and hope that surrounded her. As she stepped off the stage, Elon leaned in and said quietly, "This is just the beginning. We're going to do this together." Martha smiled through her tears. For the first time in years, she felt a sense of peace and a renewed belief in the power of dreams. The sun was beginning to set over the sprawling convention center, casting a warm golden glow over the bustling crowd. The day that had begun with humiliation and heartbreak for Martha was ending in a way she could have never imagined. She sat in a quiet lounge area with Elon Musk and a few of his team members, surrounded by the hum of conversations and the distant sounds of presentations. Martha clutched her grandson's notebook, her fingers tracing its worn cover. It no longer felt like a relic of the past, but a symbol of the future, a future that would honor Jimmy's vision. Elon sat across from her, reviewing a few pages again with genuine admiration. "Your grandson had a rare gift," Elon said, closing the notebook and handing it back to her. "His work reminds me of why I started all of this in the first place. Not for fame or fortune, but to make a difference." Martha nodded, her voice steady now. "He always wanted to help people. He used to say, 'Grandma, if I can make just one person's life better, I'll have done my job.'" She smiled wistfully. "He didn't live to see his dream come true, but I think he'd be happy knowing that others will." Elon leaned forward, his tone firm but compassionate. "Jimmy's dream will come true. We've already got our best people reviewing his concepts, and I'm confident we can develop something impactful. And when it's ready, I want you to be the first to see it." Tears welled up in Martha's eyes again, but this time they were tears of joy. "Thank you, Elon," she said softly, "for everything, for seeing him, for giving him a chance. Elon smiled. It's not just about him, it's about you too. Your courage brought his dream to us. You didn't give up, even when you were treated unfairly. That takes strength. Just then, a member of Elon's team approached. Sir, the media is asking for a statement about today. They want to hear from you and Ms. Martha. Elon glanced at Martha. Do you feel up to it? Martha hesitated, then nodded. If it will help others see the importance of treating people with kindness and respect, I'll do it. Minutes later, they stood before a gathering of reporters and cameras. Elon spoke first, recounting the day's events and emphasizing the importance of humanity and technology. He highlighted Jimmy's work and the steps being taken to bring his vision to life, making it clear that innovation and compassion must go hand in hand. When it was Martha's turn to speak, she stood tall, her voice steady. Today started as one of the hardest days of my life, but it turned into something beautiful. My grandson believed in a better world, and thanks to Mr. Musk and everyone here, his dream is alive. I hope we all remember to treat each other with kindness, because sometimes that's all someone needs to keep going. The crowd erupted in applause, and the moment was broadcast live, reaching millions around the world. Comments poured in on social media, praising Martha's strength and Elon's leadership. The story wasn't just about a woman and her grandson anymore. It had become a symbol of the power of compassion and perseverance in a world often too focused on appearances. As the evening wore on, Martha and Elon parted ways, but not before he made her a promise. This is only the beginning, Martha. I'll keep you updated every step of the way. Martha smiled, her heart full. I believe you, Elon, and I believe in Jimmy's dream, now more than ever. With that, she left the convention, no longer feeling like the timid, overlooked woman who had arrived that morning. Instead, she walked with purpose, her grandson's notebook held close, knowing that his legacy was in good hands. And as Elon returned to his work, surrounded by the hum of innovation, he couldn't help but feel a renewed sense of purpose. Today reminded him, and everyone else, that progress wasn't just about technology. It was about people, their dreams, and the power of standing up for what's right. Thank you so much for watching this story. Your support means everything to us. If you enjoyed it and want to see more inspiring stories like this, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. We'd love to hear from you. What time are you watching this video, and where are you tuning in from? Drop a comment below and let us know. It's always amazing to see how far our community reaches. And remember, every share, like, or comment helps us spread these powerful stories to more people. Thanks for being part of this journey, and we'll see you in the next one.